Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing a video all about my budget. I went on Instagram and asked you guys for some topics or questions that you wanted me to cover, so I'm going to be covering some of those, but then I'm also going to be adding in my own things. So as you can see, this is my monthly overview for my budget. So over here I just have our savings goal, a quote, and then at the end of the month I'll go through and do a budget review and then write our ending account balances. This is to mark when my fiance gets paid. These are bills that we have due, and then this is also, I use these little flower things to just mark important dates. So like this is my mom's birthday, and down here is Father's Day. I do use a key in my budget, so just down here on this bill pay checklist at the bottom in the notes section, I'll always just go through and do a key, and I use highlighters, and then I also use these Crayola Super Tip markers. I really like these because there's so many colors and it just helps to make the key better. So down here I just write that. Each color just corresponds with a different part of the budget. So like yellow, for example, is bills. The red is parts, so that's like anything that we buy. My fiance's mechanic, so like he does our own brakes and like everything. Down here is this pink color, which is work. So if he has a side job and he buys the parts for that, I just mark that down, but we get reimbursed for that. And then this is obviously my bill pay checklist. So I also just want to talk about when my fiance and I started budgeting. So we started budgeting back in January of this year. We got engaged in November of 2019, and we decided to start budgeting in January of 2020. We just wanted to really save money for our wedding and for our future. So we really buckled down and started working on this. I'm going to show you in like a mock setup with mock numbers how we figure out our budget, like our numbers for the budget. So these are all mock numbers. So up here, I do not do the paycheck by budget method. I went over that kind of in the June budget setup, why I don't do that, but I'll talk about it again here. My fiance is not salary. He is by how many hours he puts in. So his paychecks always vary. So it just wouldn't make sense for us to do like the budget by paycheck method because I don't know how much he's going to make each paycheck because he's not salary. And then I do not have a steady income. I am a full-time student. I mentioned that also in my June budget setup. So I do not have a full-time job. I do work at an ice cream shop in the summer, which isn't open yet. So right now I'm working at the farm for my dad, and then I'm also babysitting. So we are paying all the bills and stuff mostly off of my fiance's income, and then all my money is put into savings and then another account that is used for groceries and stuff while I'm at college. So I always budget, so the income I always budget for the lowest possible amount that he could make, but again, mock numbers. So I just use this $4,000 because it was an easy, even number. And then I always pay myself first. So our savings goal, we're going to say $2,000. And that would be paying myself first. So I take that $2,000 out right away. And then what's left, and then this $2,000 I will use to pay the bills and then all other expenses. So here I just have some random bills. So say you have car insurance, you're paying Netflix, Spotify, and then this is actually a legit bill. We do pay $500 a month for Snap-on, which if you don't know what that is, it is a tool business thing that my fiance buys a lot of his tools from. So we are paying off debt from that he accumulated a long time ago, but we pay $100 each week. So that is a legit number. Car insurance, let's say it's $124. Netflix, that's actually a legit number. It is $15.99 a month. Spotify, $9.99. So then you add that up, and that equals $649.98. So then I go over here, and I take my $2,000, which was what I had left over, and I subtract out that $649.98 number, which leaves me with $1,350.02. So then I'll go through and put my money into categories such as groceries, eating out, medical, hair, dog, birthdays, car maintenance, and clothing. So say my grocery budget is $200. Eating out, I'm going to budget $100, medical $100, hair $100, We have a dog, so $50. Birthdays, let's say $200. Car maintenance, $200. Clothing, and then you add that up, and that equals $1,050. So then I go back over to this $1,350.02, and I subtract out that $1,050 number, which leaves me with 302 cents. So normally what I do with this leftover money is it's either like fun money, or I will just put it into savings. So like all of this money, I don't do the paycheck I don't use the envelopes right now. So like if I don't use any of this money, it's automatically just put into savings. So that is how I set up my budget. Hopefully that makes sense. I think it's pretty like self-explanatory. You just take your income and then subtract your savings goal, and then that's how much money you have to use to pay your bills and other things. Obviously, like this isn't all of it. This is just some mock things, some mock expenses, but that is basically how I set up my budget. So also throughout the month, so as you can see, I highlighted pink. This is money that I need for babysitting. And then I have an expense tracker. So here I just, every single day, I'll look at our bank app and see what comes out. So the first, we had Snap-on. Normally Snap-on comes out every Monday. So I just highlight that yellow because it's a bill, and I just take note that that was paid with debit. And then I also highlight, this was eating out, so I just also wrote that down and what I paid it for with. Another thing that I kind of wanted to talk about is our savings goal. We have hit our savings goal. This actually has changed. When we first started budgeting in January, we said we wanted to save $2,000 a month, and it was pretty easy to hit that, to be honest. But we were also not, like I said earlier in this video, we pay Snap-on, which is $100 every single week. When we started budgeting in January, we only took out $50 every other week, I think it was, to pay that. But we just want to get rid of that debt. So we boosted it up to $100 every single week. So then obviously that's $500 extra a month that we're having to spend. So our savings goal, we put down to $1,500, which we do actually always exceed this amount. This is just like a low amount that I have, or like the lowest amount that we want to save. But we always do seem to exceed this. I think there was only 1 month where we didn't hit this goal, and that was February. It was a slow month for him working, so he didn't make as much, and yeah, so that's why we didn't hit that. Last month was kind of different, trying to save, because we ended up having to buy a new car. So we didn't want to finance or take a loan out for that. So we ended up taking a bunch of cash out of one of our savings accounts and paid for that car with all cash, which was super nice because now we don't have that as debt. We have a car and we don't have debt with it, which is extremely nice. If you can pay stuff with cash, pay it. The less debt you have, the better. But it was super weird with our budget because we didn't plan for that, but we did have enough money in our budget to be able to, or enough money in our savings, one of our savings account, to be able to take that much money out and pay for a car and still have tons of savings left over and enough money to pay for bills and even extra stuff. So now that we talked about savings, I kind of just want to talk about just what I've learned. We've learned a lot through the few months that we've been doing this. Sticking to a budget is actually not that hard. When you think about it, you're like, oh my gosh, like a budget, like how are we supposed to have fun if we have to stick to numbers? Honestly, it's very, like, it's not hard. You just gotta like stick to it and discipline yourself and really just plan. So like, for example, this dining out budget that we have, that's probably like the hardest for us because we do like to eat out, and the restaurants that we do like to eat out at tend to be pretty pricey. So that is like the hardest. We have to like plan out when we're gonna be eating out. So like 1 month, I think it was January, literally our bill at one of the restaurants we went to was like $73 for both of us. So like right there, that's using like, I think we budgeted $100 eating out. So that's like more than half of our budget right there. But you just gotta like plan those trips. Like if you eat like fast food all the time, then like obviously $100 will go far, but we don't. So we do have to plan out like our times that we do eat out, just so we do not go over budget for that. I know in January when we looked back at our expense tracker, we spent the most money on eating out, which was mostly my fiance's doing because he is on the road. He does travel for his job, and so he was eating out a lot, but now my tripod just fell over, so now I gotta restart. I'm not really sure what I was talking about. I think January, how we went over in our eating out expense, but we just looked over that and we said, okay, we can do better. So we do buy a lot more groceries now instead of eating out. Another thing that I've learned is you just have to, like, at the end of every month, you just really have to look at your numbers and adjust them to what's going to work best for you. I know originally we had like a really high grocery budget, and after like looking back through on months, we realized, okay, we don't need that high of a grocery budget. We can go lower and still be under budget. Side note, we do still live with our parents, so we do not have like a mortgage payment or rent payment or utilities or anything like that. We do just have like, these are literally our bills, are like Spotify, tithing to the church, like insurance, Netflix, and Snap-on. Like, those are all the bills that we have right now. So it's kind of to our advantage right now that we are able to save as much money as we possibly can because we don't have a bunch of bills holding us back, which is super nice. I think that's about all I wanted to talk about. Again, I am not a budget expert. Like, this is just what my fiance and I have done, what we've learned, what works for us. Everyone's different, so what works for you or what works for me is different from someone else. But I did just want to talk to you about how I kind of set this up, what I do, and what works for us. So if you have any more questions, feel free to leave them down below, and I can make more videos about this, or I can just answer you in the comments. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up.